Good evening. I'm Brighton Supervisor Bill Maley. I'm pleased to welcome all of you here to the July 26, 2017 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. As always, we're pleased to have people here in the room for our meeting. And if you would like to follow along with us, there's a packet of materials on the back table that includes tonight's agenda and all of the supporting material that we will be considering as we go through the meeting. But if you're watching on cable channel 12, or if you're streaming live on our YouTube channel, you can also review the same information, which has been downloaded to the town's website, townofbrighton.org, and you can follow all of that same material there. So however you're doing it, we welcome you to follow along and join with us in tonight's meeting. Let me start with a pledge to the flag. I'm going to ask Councilmember Jason DePonzio to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Jason. In case of an emergency, the town hall emergency alarm system will be activated. If you hear that alarm, please exit the room immediately. You can do so either through the door to my right, which actually should be closed.
Okay.
Not be just from a security perspective. We do have doors in the back that are open. But if you go out that door, turn right, go down the stairs, out the back door of Town Hall and away from the building. Or you can leave through either of the double doors in the rear of the room, through the lobby, out the main front entrance to Town Hall, down the stairs, and away from the building. If you're watching on our cable access channel and you experience technical difficulties during our live broadcast tonight, please contact Spectrum at 756-5000. That's 756-5000. Now, we always start our meetings with our open forum. The open forum is an opportunity for people to ask questions or make comments to the board about any matter, whether it is on our agenda tonight or not. And we invite you to do that in just a moment. Now, if you're here, there is one public hearing tonight on a local law proposing to replace existing yield signs in the Roselawn neighborhood at a couple of locations with stop signs. And if you're here to talk about that, I would ask that you hold your comments until that public hearing. But otherwise, if you'd like to speak during the open forum, I invite you to come up to the podium. Just raise your hand and I'll recognize you. Please, if you would, state your name and your address. Please direct your comments to the board and not to other members of the audience. Please be courteous, and I appreciate that people always are. It means a lot. Try to keep your comments as concise as possible. If you have written comments, you should feel welcome to give them to Town Clerk Dan Amon, and he'll include them in the record of the meeting. And I would also just note that we cannot talk about personnel matters relating to any town employees. So, if there is anyone here that would like to address the town board during the open forum, please do so now. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Let me also mention that during the open forum, I had mentioned earlier, if you're watching remotely, you have an opportunity to participate as well. And you can do so by calling in. 303-3060 is our phone number. Someone will take your call. And if you were watching, streaming it on YouTube or watching on Channel 12, you can call in and your comment will be passed up to us. So again, that number is 303-3060. If you are deaf or hearing impaired, we have a TDD line that you can use to participate in the open forum. That number is 784-5205. Again, our TDD number to participate in the open forum is 784-5205. So now, let me ask again. Is there anyone that would like to comment during the open forum portion of our meeting tonight? And we'll just wait a moment. It doesn't appear that anybody has called in. So I'm going to move on with our agenda tonight. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve and file the minutes of the town board meeting that we held on July 12th, 2017?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. As I mentioned, we do have one public hearing tonight, and it is a public hearing on a proposed local law to replace yield signs at certain locations on certain streets in the town with stop signs. I'll ask the clerk, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor. Notice was published in the July 20th edition of the Brighton Pittsburgh Post.
Thank you, and a copy of that has been posted, that notice, and yes, correct?
Oh, sorry, yes, posted on the clerk's bulletin board, at the website, as well as Cable 12.
Perfect, thank you. Notice having been given, I now declare this public hearing to be open. We have, really, it's the public hearing arose out of some comments we received from the public and an examination of our traffic signage in the Roselawn neighborhood. And based on our review and some input from the community, we made a decision to that eliminating a couple of yield signs and replacing them with stop signs, one on South St. Regis Drive, heading northbound at the intersection of Bonnie Bray, and one on Sonora Parkway, heading eastbound at the corner of South St. Regis, would improve safety in the neighborhood, and accordingly, the local law tonight would make those two changes. It would eliminate those two yield signs, replace them with stop signs. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to address the board on that local law this evening? Is there anyone here on the town board that would like to address that local law this evening? And I know the police department was part of the discussion on that. It was discussed at the Public Safety Committee meeting, so this has been vetted with law enforcement as well. I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone that would like to address the town board on this matter during our public hearing? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed. And Jim, would you like to make a motion on this matter?
In the matter before us, I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Any discussion by the board? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. We do have a few items of communication tonight. Can I have a motion to receive and file those items of communication?
So moved.
Second.
We have a couple of letters relating to the proposed Whole Foods project. One from Brent Penwarden, the Chief Traffic Operations Officer for the Monroe County Department of Transportation, and also one from Daniel McCusker, Acting Regional Traffic Engineer for the State Department of Transportation. We also have correspondence from Jenna Hiller, who is the Director of Institutional Advancement at the Hillel School, sharing a copy of Hillel's annual report. We also have correspondence from the Monroe County Water Authority, sharing their financial report for the last fiscal year. We have correspondence relating to the proposed capital improvement plan from our Sustainability Oversight Committee, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, but each year as we prepare our capital improvement plan, we do reach out to the community volunteers on our Sustainability Oversight Committee. These are a group of individuals with particular expertise in matters relating to sustainability, environmental issues, energy issues, and the like. And they have, and I must say, as always, I greatly appreciate their input to our capital improvement process and the budget development process. But they have submitted some thoughts and observations and recommendations as it relates to capital expenditures by the town. The town each year develops a 3-year capital improvement plan to give us the ability to look out and anticipate significant projects of importance to the community to help us with our budgeting going forward. The State Comptroller's Office recommends that communities do a capital improvement plan. Not all of them do, but we think it's important, and it's really a great, I'll talk, as I said, a little more in a minute, but it's a great way, it's a great part of our budget development process, and so they have weighed in on that. And finally, we have communication from 293A Alden Road, 293A Alden Road LLC, relating to the proposed project at 1201 Elmwood Avenue. That is the project known as, sometimes known as the Terrence Building project. It is a project that is in the city and in the town of Brighton, about 18 acres in the city, about 10 or 11 acres here in the town of Brighton. Largely the development of residential rental properties with some commercial uses, including a hotel that would be located in the city. But in any event, it is correspondence relating to that project. So those are the items of communication we have, and we have a motion and a second. Any further comment on the communications?
Bill, I just wanted to mention the work that Mike Guyon did in generating this letter to the board from the Sustainability Oversight Committee. I know Mike worked very hard to incorporate the comments of the various board members.
And I should
put
have
them
mentioned,
together,
Chris,
and
you are the liaison to that committee, and thank you
Yes,
for
I
that.
have. But Mike worked very hard on this, and nice job, Mike. It was very
Thank you,
helpful.
Mike. It really is. You know, ever since the Sustainability Committee began doing these letters of comment relating to the CIP, I have found them to be incredibly well thought out, well considered, and frankly helpful to me personally as I engage in the capital improvement project. So thank you to the SOC members, and thank you to you, Mike, and to you, Chris, because you put in a fair amount of time with those meetings as well.
Yes.
Any other comments? We have a motion and a second to receive and file those communications. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Next, committee reports. Community Services Committee. Chris.
The Community Services Committee met on July 19th. We had a very long meeting with many, many items that we covered. We talked about Buckland Park and the great success on the July 18th concert, but the challenge that presented to the town staff with both a concert and a lot of soccer programs ongoing with parking issues that were addressed both by the Parks Department and also the need to actually redirect some folks that had a long-standing pickup soccer game that had to relocate because it just wasn't enough room, but everybody worked very cooperatively. Also, Matt Beeman reported that they put some gravel along some low areas around the perimeter trail, which have been quite wet. The Corbett's Glen Committee intends to do a walk through the park on July the 27th. They're looking at a number of issues there in the park and discussions regarding unleashed dogs and trash in the park, which was cleaned up daily by the Parks Department, was discussed. I'll try to hit just the high points here. We touched base regarding the farmers market project and where that stands. The architect is putting together some final revisions to make those plans bid ready. Matt reported on the 4th of July, which was very successful, went off with no problems. The Brighton Senior Rides Program was a matter of some discussion. It's an excellent program by Lifetime Assistance to provide rides for our seniors to medical appointments and to church and, religious services, excuse me. Some 45 people have provided 65 rides already, and it's just a month old. And more volunteers are needed. Anyone who would be interested, please contact Lifetime Assistance, and I believe they were to put up one of their brochures on the town website as well, because there is a need in the town for seniors who can no longer drive to get to their appointments. We talked about the smoking policy within the town parks and town properties, and Annalisa Rogers of the American Lung Association presented at our meeting and presented information about tobacco-free outdoors and the dangers of secondhand smoke, even out of doors. Dan Amon has indicated that he was discussing a possible code amendment with Ken Gordon, our town attorney, and was going to be looking at the Henrietta and a few other town codes that currently have such restrictions in place. The town board members present at the meeting indicated that they supported a ban, as do I, of smoking in all town parks and properties.
And I think we asked to see a draft of that local law for the next community services.
Yes. So hopefully we'll have that and be able to initiate that. And that's important not only from the standpoint of the dangers of secondhand smoke, but also the modeling for our children who are present in the parks and attending soccer games and lacrosse games and baseball games. And if we have adults smoking, it just sets a bad example. We also talked about enforcement options and what the burden might place upon the police department and to what extent it was going to work, that just citizens might draw people's attention to smoking restricted signs and so forth. But we'll see how that develops. But it seems like a good program. The Bel Air crosswalk was discussed and the need to repaint that after our chip sealing over there. And also we had a very extended discussion about town beautification and the fact that there are any number of different areas in town that could use some sprucing up. Our particular focus was on 12 Corners, and we're kind of brainstorming about what our different resources might be. Town staff, of course, is charged with some of the parks and so forth, but the issue was, well, whether we could enlist folks from the town. Dee Burdette came to talk with us and volunteered to try to generate some interest among the garden clubs as they exist in town. And I appreciate very much Dee coming out. We talked about garbage cans and flower beds and mulching and on at great length.
The Chamber of Commerce has also, at least informally, made a commitment to consider a request to support beautification efforts.
Bill
and
is
that's
making a
appreciated.
presentation to them and has asked for any kind of information or suggestions that he can present to them, that they be presented to him by the second Wednesday in August, as I recall.
Thursday.
All right, the second Thursday in August.
Well, the meeting is the second Thursday, so yes, I better get it by the second
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So if you've got some ideas of what the ask should contain. But we discussed at length the different overlapping jurisdictions and the challenges those present as we try to dress up state highways, county highways, town garbage cans and benches and so forth. So,
Work in the right-of-way versus, and work in private property. It's a very complicated matter, but I think, I hope, and I think it's true, I think everybody, all of the stakeholders, everybody is interested in finding ways to make Brighton as attractive a community as it can be.
absolutely, and that's the idea. We don't need people to tell us what's wrong with town. We want people that will come forward and say, this is how I can help, and this is who I can generate some energy with. So, so that is going to remain on our community services agenda for a long time to come, and so will be subject to further discussions. Also, I was pleased to receive 2 inquiries this week, both from Brighton High School administrators, if I read the email correctly, and also from the U of R, regarding the students there that have an outreach program as well.
Outreach for what?
Students to come and help in the wherever we'd like to direct them. And I've talked to Matt Beeman perhaps about spreading the mulch on the Corbett's Glen Trail. He thought that he could use probably 10 to 12 people, weather permitting, to do that. And I thought also to enlist a cadre of gardeners for our town hall campus here as well. There's a lot of work to do and not as many hands as we'd like available. So if anyone else has any ideas and wishes to send them on to me, I'd appreciate that very much. And lastly, I reported on my inspection of the Lehigh Valley Trail. My wife and I took a ride on it. There was some concerns expressed about the condition of the Lehigh Valley Trail, which leaves the canal path just as you come into the University of Rochester and then heads off to Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road. And frankly, I rode it with my road bike, the skinny tire, and it was in excellent shape. And it really is a beautiful trail. It's the first time I've ridden all the way out it. So I recommend that it's part of our bicycle network, and it's being well maintained and monitored by Matt Beeman. Our next meeting will be August 16th, 9:30 a.m. I believe we're going back to our regular time for August. Is that correct? Or are we still trying to dovetail with FAST?
We're at 8:30 on Wednesdays until September, so.
Okay, so it'll be at 10 o'clock then, and it will be here then at Town Hall. And please, the public is very, very welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Speaking of Finance and Administrative Services, Jason.
Yes, Finance met last Wednesday, and each of the items that were discussed at last week's FAST meeting appear on tonight's agenda. In addition to last Wednesday's meeting, we also met again on Friday morning at 8:30, and that was the full town board that attended to begin the review of the Capital Improvement Plan, our CIP, which actually there was some mention about the Sustainability Oversight Committee's comments in that process. So we began that process, and that process actually continued this afternoon when we met again, the full town board, in order to continue our review of the CIP.
But that was a Finance
That was
Committee
a
meeting,
right.
although all members of the board were
Right,
present.
exactly. It was a continuation of finance, but everybody attended because it's a really important part of what we do as a town board. So, and then we continued that, and we're going to continue that discussion at our next Finance and Administrative Services Committee meeting, which will also include our regularly scheduled agenda items, which is scheduled for next Wednesday, August 2nd. We meet at 8:30 in the morning, and instead of the stage, we're going to be meeting here in the auditorium, and the public is invited to attend.
I am thinking as we're talking about this scheduling, I know the discussion of the CIP, it tends to be lengthy. There are a lot of tough issues there as we talk about the town's finance. An hour and a half after that meeting starts, right now, we're scheduled to start the community services meeting, which also has some pretty significant.
Will you meet on the 2nd or on the 16th?
We are on the
Oh, right,
16th.
we're,
second
16th.
Wednesday of,
so it's a different,
it's
it's a
August
different.
16th is the
Yeah,
date.
never
Third-
mind.
third
Not an
Wednesday.
overlap.
Okay.
Good,
So we'll be good?
good.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, thank you. Right. Okay, good.
Actually, I don't know if that's correct. Because it's the third Wednesday.
It is the third Wednesday.
So there would be FASC. It would be FASC, you're just a FASC
Right, but it won't
behind.
be a CIP review, because the goal is we'll have already adopted the CIP at our first meeting
Okay.
in August.
Okay, sorry.
Right. That's when the conflict will be.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, perfect. So, you're good?
I'm good, yes.
Thank you. Public safety, Louise?
Public safety has not met since the last town board meeting. Our next meeting is on the 8th of August at 8 in the morning, the downstairs meeting room. The public is invited to attend.
Thank you. Jim, Public Works?
Public Works has not met since the last town council meeting. Our next meeting will be next week, Tuesday, August 1st, at 9 a.m. in the lower level community meeting room. And as with all these committees, it's open to the public.
Thank you. We'll move on to new business, reading and approval of the claims. Jason?
Yes, earlier this evening, I reviewed claims totaling $551,875.19. Notable claims include the Young Explosive in the amount of $11,400 for the fireworks display at our 4th of July celebration. Also to the Bobcat Company for 2 skid steer loaders, say that 10 times fast, for the sewer
Tongue
department.
twister.
In the amount of $8,289.20, and that represents actually the trade-in program. They're actually new skid steers, and we traded in year-old models, and were able to receive a credit. Actually, the retail price was $39,324. We received a credit for $35,250 for a net of $4,144 each. And then also to the Sky Coasters, continuing on the 4th of July theme, in the amount of $3,500, representing the 4th of July entertainment. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey?
Aye. Louise?
The next matter is to authorize a permanent appointment of provisional employee Lisa Pavlovich as Deputy Court Administrator effective July 27th, 2017. I move on the resolution as prepared by the Attorney to the Town.
Second.
Lisa was hired on a provisional basis some time ago. Under the civil service laws, she had to take the civil service exam for that position. There was no list for that position when she was hired. I'm happy to say that she passed the test, finished in the top 3, and therefore we were able to reach her directly in the civil service hiring process. So Lisa is not new. She's been down there now for a while, but it's just a change in her status for civil service purposes. We have a motion and a second on that discussion. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to provide professional design services for the Highway Operations Center Storage Building Siding Project. I move on the resolution as prepared by the Attorney to the Town.
Second.
And that lowest bidder is the firm of Clark Patterson Lee. There were 4 bids, really proposals. Technically, they're not bids because they're professional services. And Clark Patterson Lee was the lowest. They are a well-known, responsible firm. Mike, I don't know if you have anything you want to add with respect to their qualifications or that proposal.
I guess the one nice thing about these bids is they all came in relatively clumped together, which demonstrated that we had a pretty good response with pretty good pricing.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey?
Aye. On this next matter, I am going to recuse myself, although it does not relate directly to the project at 1925 South Clinton Avenue that I have recused myself from. It does relate to a contract for professional services relating to that project that the developer will pay for. So I'm going to recuse myself on this matter. I will leave the room, and I will ask Councilmember Vogel
Yep.
to lead the discussion and the vote on this matter, and just come and get me somebody
Will do.
when you're finished.
Will do. All right. And the next matter before us has to do with a approval to amend a previously approved town board resolution regarding granting consent to installing a traffic signal. Oh, excuse me. Authorizes, the supervisor to execute lowest responsive bid to professional services.
Yes.
Yeah. For the review of a traffic impact study for the proposed development of property located at 1925 South Clinton Avenue project.
I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
All right?
Second.
And I just want to point out, since the supervisor has recused himself on this matter, you'll notice in the resolution that it actually indicates the supervisor or the supervisor's designee is authorized to sign this professional services contract.
Yes.
And this is for the designation of Fisher Associates to look at the traffic study from the standpoint of the town.
Right, this is on the DeMarco project at 1925 South Clinton.
Correct.
Who's his designee? Doesn't matter? Okay.
Someone else on behalf of the town.
It's going to be one of you guys, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
All right. Any further discussion or questions? All right. We have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel,
Aye.
Councilmember Novros.
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
All right, we can
I'll go get
retrieve the
Thanks, Mike.
supervisor.
Thank you, Jim. And that resolution passed, just
It
so
did.
I know that. Thank you. Okay, very good. Next matter, Jim, if you would
Yes.
take that next one.
Next matter is to approval to amend a previously approved town board resolution dated June 28th, 2017, granting consent to install a traffic signal device at Lockdeville Boulevard and Elmwood Avenue intersection to reflect the County of Monroe's requested resolution format change. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
This is a matter, those of you that drive Elmwood Avenue have noticed, we've talked about it here, but that construction work that's going on down near Lockdeville Boulevard on Elmwood Avenue is in preparation for putting in a new traffic signal there with, most importantly, a left turn arrow. And to do that, they are going to be adding a left turn lane in that area, so they will be changing the lane configuration a little bit. And they have asked, the county DOT has asked that we slightly revise a resolution that we previously adopted, approving all those changes and removing some inconsistent traffic signage there at the corner of Lockdeville and Elmwood. So that's the reason for this matter. And Mike, I don't know if you've heard any updates. I know it was everybody's hope and expectation. They were definitely out there working hard today. They had things tightened down a little bit. Is it still their expectation to finish this project during the summer while
No, I haven't heard anything,
Okay.
but I haven't heard that they weren't going to finish it. So I know they're moving ahead. They've turned electricity off. We've worked with RG&E to get that, so seems to be on track.
Good.
Mike, is this going to be an overhead light, or is it going to be on the curbs?
My understanding, Louise, it's going to be an overhead light.
And we do have the plans for the project, and, but I think Mike is right, that's my recollection.
And this will be a county light, Mike, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Chris.
Will it have a traffic control box that we can paint?
I like your style, Councilman Warner. Yes, it will be.
Well, there you go.
We have a motion and a second on that. Any further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonte?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Louise?
The next matter is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Roy Teetsworth, Inc. to provide online auction services for abandoned property in the police department. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Sometimes the police department, they may seize assets, or other sorts of things may come into their possession. And after they have held them for the prescribed period of time, they can be sold. We have used one organization to do that, but through the work in the police department, we've determined that we can get a better terms, and with we certainly expect as effective a result going with the Teetsworth online auction service, and they will take a smaller percentage commission. I don't know if there's anything, Captain Cathaldi, you want to add to that? But this will just authorize us to begin using Teetsworth online for those auctions.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well. PropertyRoom.com was charging us 50%. They took 50% of the proceeds, and Roy Teetsworth's only going to be 15%.
Right, 5-0 from them, 1-5 from Teetsworth. Much better deal.
Yeah, in this auction company is currently utilized by the Sheriff's Department, so they're well established.
We use them regularly for their, to sell, not so much online, but, at their auctions. And so, good. We have a motion, and who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Jason?
Jason, thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonte?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter seeks approval to make various reorganizational changes within the Assessor's Department, along with all supporting administrative actions and budget-related transactions to support changes effective August 14, 2017. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
These budget and reorganizational changes all relate to the upcoming, really ongoing, revaluation of town property for property tax valuation purposes. Through some, I thought, really very helpful decision-making with our assessor, Elaine Ainsworth, who put together a couple of ways we could conduct this project, we determined that we could save taxpayers a significant amount of money by doing more of the project in-house. And the way that we're doing that is our current IT director, Sue Wentworth, who has a background as well in property appraisal and who has been attending classes for some time relating to the job of assessor and further appraisal methods. And in fact, we just received today, too late to include in today's agenda, but correspondence from civil service confirming that she does in fact have all the proper qualifications to be assessor. Sue will be taking the position that we are calling deputy assessor, and she will be working with Elaine Ainsworth during our reval process. And actually, at the end of that process, Elaine has indicated her expectation that she will be retiring, and Sue will be in a position to take over as the assessor at that point. And so it's a great opportunity for her for a career change. It is a very, IT-intensive process as we go through the assessment, and Sue Wentworth is very, very excited to be working with Elaine on that. So, and the savings are significant. We will still be reaching out for some consulting services for the valuation of some commercial properties, but we'll be able to do much more of the work in-house and save tens of thousands of dollars. And I commend them both for putting that plan together. So this will be some further budget and personnel schedule changes to implement that. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on any of that? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
Last item is for approval to extend the completion date from July 31, 2017 to September 13, 2017 of the Final Environmental Impact Statement, or FEIS, for the proposed Whole Foods project, or Plaza project. I move that we adopt the resolution to this effect as prepared by the attorney for the town before
Second.
us.
Let me, this is a procedural matter. We've talked about where we're at on the review of the Whole Foods process on a number of occasions, but let me, again, update everybody. We continue in the environmental review process under SEQR, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. No final decisions have been made on the project, either as to its environmental suitability or as to a final approval of the project itself. The final environmental impact statement is a document required under SEQR, having gone through the process that we have gone through, which you'll recall included the preparation and a public hearing on a draft environmental impact statement, and subsequently the preparation and public hearing on a supplemental draft environmental impact statement, both documents prepared by the applicant for the project. Having been through all of those public hearings, it is now incumbent ultimately on the town to have a final environmental impact statement issued. That final environmental impact statement must synthesize, among other things, and respond to the comments that were received not only during those public hearings, but also written comments that were made during the written public comment period on the draft environmental impact statement and the supplemental draft environmental impact statement. That is a process that typically, and in this case will, start with the preparation of a document by the developer. The town and town staff will review it, suggest changes, but it's ultimately a town document. And because it's a pretty extensive process, as those of you that have been following and participating, attending those hearings know, we heard a lot of input, and that's important to the process. So what this is doing is extending the date that the town has to take action to approve a final environmental impact statement. Now that sounds like a final action. It is not. The approval of a final environmental impact statement is not even the final step in the environmental review, but it is probably the second to last step in the environmental review, because after a final environmental impact statement comes what's called the findings statement. And that's an opportunity, again, for the town. And the reason it's the town is because we are the lead agency for the environmental review of this project under SEQR. The finding statement is an opportunity for the town to make certain findings about environmental impacts of the project, whether they have been sufficiently mitigated or not, or whether with certain conditions they could be sufficiently mitigated for purposes of seeker. So that development of that finding statement will really mark the end of the environmental review process. The final environmental impact statement is an important document. It has to incorporate either by reference or in physically both the draft and the supplemental draft environmental impact statements and responses to all of those comments. So it will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages long, I anticipate. It will be a very extensive document. It will be reviewed with our consultant, Stantec. So what we're trying to do, the law gives the town basically the unlimited opportunity to make a determination as to how long the town believes it will take to adequately review that document. And right now, we're at least asking that that time be extended to September 13th. That's without prejudice for a further extension, and I can't say at this point whether a further extension will be needed. But the applicant is preparing that document, and when there is a final environmental impact statement, we will review it and take that action. There is no public hearing in fact, no public hearing is allowed under seeker on the final environmental impact statement or on the finding statement. However, when we finish that environmental review process, we will return to the underlying project itself and the incentive zoning application on the project, and also specifically the amenities and the incentives that the applicant has asked for. And there will be a public hearing on that incentive zoning application, and again, on the amenities that they have offered, whether they are the same amenities that they are currently offering or whether they've changed. For those of you that are reading comments from the public, and Councilmember Novros and I both have commented on the document. I think you may have as well on the DEIS. I can't remember, Chris.
I prepared it, I did not
Okay.
submit it. It was,
and you will see that we both raised concerns about the adequacy of those amenities that were being proposed, but there's a lot of issues there, and for that reason, the public process in the incentive zoning review is important. That's one of the many beauties of incentive zoning, is that there is the opportunity to have public hearings, and in this case, several public hearings before the town board before a project can be voted on. So at this stage, all we're asking is an extension for the town board to approve a final environmental impact statement through September 13th, and again, without prejudice to the possibility that that date could be further extended. And we have a motion and a second, and now we'll open it for further discussion. Louise?
If on September 13th, it is ready to go to the next step, when do you think we would be voting on it finally?
Yeah, good, fair question, good question. And to a certain extent, I have to say, it depends. There is a timeline set by the seeker regulations that we have to take action on the findings statement within a specific number of days after the final environmental impact statement is completed. And I don't remember if you have at the tip of your tongue whether that's 30 or 45 days, but it's a relatively short period of time that the town board would have to act on a findings statement. But then we're back in the process of reviewing the actual incentive zoning if, and it is a very real if, because I can't stress enough, it's really important to say this, because there are people out there who believe that it's a done deal. It is not. I can't say that strongly enough. If someone tells you this is a done deal, I can look at my colleagues in the eye and I know from myself, this is not a done deal. We don't even know what we will ultimately be. The project can change. The developer could offer more amenities. The developer could shrink who knows what could happen. But there are no done deals on this project. Anybody that tells you otherwise does not know what they're talking about. So there would be a public hearing still on the incentive zoning application. And the timing of that, whether that public hearing has to continue, I imagine there'll be a lot of interest in that. So it's a fair question, and I wish I could tell you it'll be on thus and such a date.
So it could go into next year.
It could. It could. But it will certainly take some period of time to do that, to hold those public hearings and to make decisions. Ken, you look like you've got some.
Well, just on the seeker process itself, if right now where we are in terms of this particular resolution, extending the time to September 21st, I think it is?
13th.
13th, whatever. September 13th for the FEIS would dictate that findings would have to be adopted by October 13th.
It is a month. I thought so, yeah.
So no sooner than 10 days, no later than 30 days.
And then realistically,
So that would not be, so that part of the process, and even if that date was pushed back to, hypothetically November 30th, then the finding statements would still need to be adopted during this year.
thanks.
Is there a more streamlined way of doing all this? It's not fair to them, it's not fair to us,
It's a complicated project and a complicated process in terms of procedural rules, but the idea is to make sure that you guys have an adequate opportunity to thoroughly review and take a hard look at all the potential impacts. The final environmental impact statement, which staff and I have been working on and trying to pull together, it's a lengthy document, and it's going to have to be something that's actually your statement on the impacts of the project. So we're trying to come up with something that we think that you will all be
But
comfortable
more
with.
importantly, is accurately reflects.
Accurate. Well, I would hope that you wouldn't be comfortable with something that wasn't accurate. So certainly accurate, but that covers comprehensively the issues that have been looked at. And although traffic's been big, there's been other issues, and there's been many elements of traffic that have been looked at. And trying to get that all in a statement that is acceptable or will be acceptable to you guys is a challenge, because we know your standards are high.
It is a lengthy process, and early on, this board made decisions about the environmental significance of the project that dictated this full seeker review. I believe that's the right decision. I believe very strongly it's the right decision, and frankly, the level of interest and the level of input from the community confirms to me that that was the right decision under the law. So, but I hear you. It's not a streamlined process by any stretch. Okay, we have a motion and a second here on that extension of time. Any further discussion from the board on that? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros? Councilmember DePonzio? Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, a couple things. I did say I would talk a little bit more about the budget, and we've been talking about it tonight, but I think it is so central to what we do, and the decisions we make are very important to all of you. I just want to walk through the schedule a little bit, where we are and where we'll be going with that. As has been mentioned, we held a meeting of the Finance Committee this afternoon, which we adjourned at 20 minutes to 6. That's all part of the review of our capital improvement plan, a 3-year capital improvement plan. That process of reviewing that at the Finance Committee will continue on August 2nd. And then at the town board meeting on August 9th, I anticipate that the town board will take action to approve a capital improvement plan. That same day, August 9th, and then on August 23rd, the town board will hold 2 workshops on the town's budget. We move from the capital plan to the budget as a whole. And at those workshops, all of the department heads make presentations concerning the budget requests that they've made for their particular department, how they have complied, we hope, with the directives that the finance director, Suzanne Zaso, and I put together in our budget letter to our department heads about the need to control costs and make certain priorities. So those meetings will be, those town board workshops, open meetings, public is welcome, August 9th and August 23rd at 4 p.m. I will say that they are not, they're not public hearings. Those come a little bit later. The public hearings, the budget itself, after those workshops, the finance staff will work with me, will work with the department heads to prepare a tentative budget that will be submitted to the board at our second meeting in September. And then at our 2 October meetings, we will hold public hearings on that budget. And as I've said before, with the goal of taking action on a budget at the second meeting of the board in October, so that you, the community, will have had the opportunity to see the budget, to read the budget, to participate in a public hearing on a budget, and to see your elected representatives vote on that budget all before Election Day. We think that's important. We think, I always hesitate to tell another level of government how they ought to operate, but the County of Monroe takes a different approach, and they won't even release their budget, proposed budget, until after Election Day. I think that does a disservice to county taxpayers. So that's the process. That's where we're at. We welcome participation from the community, just as we have reached out and welcomed communication from our Budget Review Task Force and from our Sustainability Oversight Committee, our 2 committees who have as a part of their charge review and input to our town budget. A couple of upcoming events I want to let people know about. Next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, August 3rd, Assembly Majority Leader Joe Morelli will host a health and wellness fair, which is held every year at Temple Brith Kodesh, 2131 Elmwood Avenue, from 9 a.m. to noon that day, open to the entire community. That event is sponsored by the Rochester Hearing and Speech Center, Rochester Clinical Research, and Brighton Volunteer Ambulance, in addition to Assembly Majority Leader Morelli. On August 1st will be the 4th of our Tuesday night summer concert series. And so far we're 3 for 3. We haven't been rained out yet. And this is the first year we can say that in a long time. Last night was close. It was a little damp out at Buckland Park, and that maybe limited the crowd, but a wonderful, wonderful performance by Alyssa Trahan, a Nashville singer who grew up in East Rochester, did some original music, did some great cover versions of songs by groups like the Dixie Chicks and the Zac Brown Band, very popular, and she did a great job. Next week, Tuesday night, August 1st, the Swooners. And the Swooners are new to this series. They're sort of a vocal jazz group, so I'm looking forward to hearing them August 1st. Those concerts are out at Buckland Park from 6:30 to 8 p.m. I would remind everybody that when you go out there, please observe the parking restrictions. The driveway at all times, the driveway from Westfall Road into the main parking lot is marked no parking. And there should be plenty of parking available in the main lot or in the next driveway farther down that'll be marked out. So that's August 1st. August 2nd, I'm very pleased that the Brighton Police Department will be holding an open house August 2nd from 5 to 8 p.m. Right here in the police department and outside. You'll have an opportunity to tour vehicles, some tools of the trade, not just from the Brighton Police Department, but also from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I don't know, Captain Cathaldi, are there any other agencies that are going to be participating, state police or the crime lab or anybody else that are a part of?
We're still finalizing plans for it. As far as I know, it's just the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
Well, they have some, they're always,
Very popular.
yeah, absolutely, and so is the Brighton Police Department. There'll be tours of the police department facility, and Marty's Meats food truck will be available for folks to buy dinner if you'd like to eat as part of the event. Again, 5 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, August 2nd, right next door in the public safety wing of Town Hall. Everybody is invited, definitely family friendly. Bring the kids, they will enjoy it. That's all I have. Matters of the attorney for the town. Matters of the town clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the board. Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Thank you, everybody, for participating tonight. Our next meeting will be August 9th, right here in this room at 7 p.m. Have a great evening, everybody.